Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate InvestHER Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andresa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andresa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate InvestHER Show. We're going to go deep very quickly into how we roll on the show. So we're talking about moving through a victim mentality. So get your coffee, get ready for this mini-sode because we're going to go deep but brief, right, Andresa?
Exactly. And we're going to do a quick exercise that you're going to be able to do it at your house and really look at the things that are holding you back right now, not just for investment business, but for your life in general. So buckle up. So Liz, here's the deal. There are different ways that people can look at the same reality, the same situation, but from a different lens, right? Different perspective. That doesn't mean that we are denying reality, that we are justifying things that people did wrong to you, where you were indeed a victim of a circumstance that caused you trauma and hurt. And that's not what we are trying to diminish here. We want to validate how you feel and what happened to you, and that is not okay. What we're talking here is the victim mentality that might hold a lot of people back because they keep, imagine like a baggage, right? That people carry with them everywhere that they go. And everything that they do, they justify not being able to achieve that because of that baggage, right? So we're going to share with you here examples that me, Andresa, and then Liz is going to share her examples as well, the things that we could have looked in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So the key here is that we're going to share the first lens that we're going to share with you is a victim mentality. And then the second way to look at it, we're going to shift. We're going to do like a lens exercise. We're going to look at it from a different perspective. The fact did not change. What changed is how we looked at it, right? So here we go. My first item is my parents, they had me when they were 20 and 21 years old. And I cannot tell you, like the conversations that I had in the past with my mom, really like my dad passed away when I was 17, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him about this. But with my mom, I was like, what the hell were you guys thinking? Right? What the hell were you guys thinking? Were you kids? Didn't even live life yet in order for you to have a child. So the victim mentality is always like making people wrong, like as if it was not common at that time, having kids on their 20s, right? And having different ways of living. But I use that to say, now I have to work hard. I need to do more things now that if you guys have, they were high school sweethearts. So if you had waited until your 30s, right? All those what ifs. She was like, what do you want me to do now? That okay, great. Now what, right? So then instead, right, when I looked at that, right? So I gotta shift that, okay? They were lovely couple. And they don't know what they don't know, right? So they always have this freedom that allowed me to really fly high. I moved out of my house at 14, not because I had a bad childhood, but because my parents, I came to them with a plan. But they looked at me and said, listen, you have all the things that you need in place and we trust you. One thing that you need to know is that we are raising you to the world. And if you need to fly back, you have a safe place to go. That alone gave me the confidence to really move out, go to a different college in another town, move out by myself here to the US. So their quote unquote naiveness, if that's an English question, really was good for me, because if they were too worried about the bad things that could have happened to me in the world, they would have kept me there. So that's how I chose to look at this, right?
I like that. And it's about shifting this fact, as you said, to a different reality, a new reality, a more empowering reality. So my story to share, my kind of experience is really from a schooling perspective and from like feeling intelligent perspective. So, growing up, I always, I did well more in I always was an average student. If I was going to do well in anything, it was more of the non-math and science classes, right? So I kind of graduated from high school pretty average from an academic perspective. College, I worked hard to do well, but again, I was in social sciences, a psych major. So I tended to really like that. But, I had to take some classes in the mathematical area and struggled. And so and then I even have taken an IQ test, right? Right. Like a cognitive IQ test that specifically drills down on a very specific type of cognition, right? Of more of the mathematical reasoning, those sort of things. And didn't do phenomenally well. I'd say I was below average. And so different pieces of that, I think over time, you think, wow, this person's going to get into real estate investing, right? Because, on paper, you'd be like, well, I think that might be not the right fit for you. And it doesn't mean I can't look at numbers or I don't have any analytical abilities, but I definitely second guessed myself over the years when I was starting. And so the victim mentalities that I could have allowed that quote unquote feeling average academically. And even getting into grad school, you have to take the GREs really quick. And I ended up doing so poorly on my GREs that I was so worried I wasn't going to get into the school I wanted to. I wanted to go to the University of Pennsylvania. Well, their policy changed and they weighted more on the interview. They weighted more on my GPA, and they weighted more on my background and my extracurricular activities and my much more of a holistic approach. And then the interview. I'm like, all right, I can do that. I can nail an interview. And so I did, but the juries didn't become important because if had they been, I would never gotten in to graduate school because they were horrible. Lower scored, I should say. So the learning or the victim shift for me, right, is knowing who you are, knowing what you do well, and obviously what you don't do well, but also just when I really want to learn something, I learn it and I can look at numbers and really, and then I might need to review it again and read through it again. I don't look at a term and then I have it memorized. I'm not that kind of person, not unless it means something to me. So you have to then move through the victim mentality yourself and know where your limitations are, right? So the idea would be, I'm not going to analyze a brand new property or brand new deal, probably just with my own eyes. I'm not going to do that. And, my husband and I built a very successful portfolio for ourselves that I've been integral in every step of the way. So you can't allow what you think is limiting you to stop you. And you need to know where your strengths are and where your strengths aren't. I actually like looking at numbers. I do. I enjoy what the process is. And I'll say again, is it going to be something that I ever go into a profession where I'm just analyzing numbers? Probably not. Right. But it's part of the puzzle. And I think it's important to own it, to know it, and then not to allow it to, because I could have allowed all the things I heard over the years of growing up, especially when it came to math, to stop me.
Yeah.
And been like, what am I even thinking? Getting into something that has an analytical piece to it and an analytical approach.
Nice. Good stuff. The second thing that I would say for me is that English is not my first language, as you guys can tell, right? Oh, surprise. But hear me out for all the bilingual folks out there. You guys know how difficult it is to go to a country, right? Listen, we thought we'd know English. When I was taking English classes in Brazil, I was like, yeah, I'm an advanced. No, I was not freaking advanced at all, right? Because the way that people talk over here that make no sense in a couple of expressions, you don't learn that. It's not on the books. And the most important thing is like I'm looking to a freaking camera right now and really spitting out. I am not translating it, right? But if I start thinking about it, I'm gonna make mistakes immediate. So thinking about going on stage and speaking. And usually people, you guys know bilinguals, right? If we get nervous about it. And if we start talking about language, the other language start kicking in as it is kicking in right now in my head. And I'm gonna probably stumble or doubt if the word that I'm using is correct or if the sentence that I'm using is correct. And how does that affect real estate, right? Think about it. If I'm going to have a conversation with somebody over the phone, if I'm going to have a conversation with a lender and I don't know how to pronounce a word correctly, and then they might judge my experience based on my pronunciation,
Mm.
right? There's a lot there. And I have people around me that say, like, can I say something? That's not how you say it. Tessa, you usually go, no, honey, it's not rooster, it's roster. I was like, why don't you guys do it? Because we were doing a mastermind. I was like, what was the rooster send it to all the Strive members? She's like, if the rooster was sent it to them for the accountability call, it's like, yeah, the rooster. She's like, honey, rooster, roster. I was like, what? Roster, right? The roster. I was like, why don't you guys invent some random word that is like so far from? However, I choose to look at this, right? I can talk to more people because I understand Spanish and I understand Italian. So I can, and I have used that to my advantage with managing contractors and especially with inspectors, right? Because I just say, listen, English is not my first word. Would you mind putting in writing all the inspections, updates,
Yeah.
walkthrough? Because they usually don't do that. Like, can you help me out with this? Or, use the English card. You do what you got to do. But I gave up. I'm never going to come here and have a perfect sentence or pronunciation. That's not going to happen. And I'm cool with that. So if you guys are still listening, that my accent doesn't piss you off or irritates you, or you're like, oh, she made another mistake. Here we go. Right? It's all good. You pass that and then you get to the point. But that's something that many immigrants, right, might be looking at it and say, they're not going to understand. But they will. They will. You try to repeat in a different word and try to figure out where is the emphasis on that word, and they will understand. Don't worry about it. That's all I can say.
I love it. I love that. And as you're hearing these examples from our own life, we're sharing these with you so you can see yourself in these examples too, right? Which is so powerful. And the key is to be shifting from victim to victor. How can I become a victor of this fact versus a victim, right? So my second one is something that I think a lot of investors can relate to and connect with is, I don't know if they can actually, maybe my experiences have been unique. And I have heard it from a lot of people, but at times, investors have gotten money stolen from them, whether it's a contractor, whether it's a lender, or you've lost money in a deal. I think that's all in the bucket of money, not the profit in everything, not being where it needs to be. But specifically, right, money not being taken. So I'll bottom line this in like a minute, but we were part of like a Ponzi scheme through a 1030.
You're not part of one though.
No, I didn't. No, sorry. We were quote unquote victims of one.
Look at the English, the English.
Thank you, Andresa.
You're welcome.
People are surprised that English is my first language, and I have no reason for that, quite honestly, but that's okay. What happened was this gentleman stole millions of dollars from a lot of people, and we were one of those victims, if you will. If I hate to use that word, but one of those people, one of those groups, and it was a lot of money. It was our money and our investors' money. $750,000 actually. But this example relates to you if you lost $5 or as much as we did. The part of that was tough. I mean, it was around the Christmas time, and we were pretty seasoned in this business. This wasn't our first rodeo. And so when you're part of something like that and something bad happens, especially in your business, and you're like, this doesn't happen to people like us. This doesn't happen to seasoned investors like us. What happened here? And then, obviously you blame the person that stole the money. But when you're in this business and you're growing a business and you have investors, you have to take 100% responsibility. We didn't technically steal the money. Of course, we didn't steal any money, but we were the leaders of it, right? We were the stewards of that money. And so after getting really mad and angry, obviously, at this person and being mad at ourselves, which was the next part, we really then shifted. Okay, how do we really become a victor so we can take care of our investors and also obviously take care of our own interests, right? Because it was really like a someone punched us in the stomach. That's what it felt like, big time. So the shift there, I think, quite honestly, and just for us, what was really helpful is that we had other people involved in this. We couldn't stay in the victim. We didn't have that luxury to stay in the
No,
victim mentality. If it was our own money, I maybe would have stayed in there longer. I don't
I
know,
don't
but
know. I remember going there and really like having conversations. And I think that you guys have so much a core team and friends around you that I don't think you will have stayed there long.
correct. When bad things happen, which cause us to take a step back and go, holy shit, what just happened here? And you
Yeah.
start blaming people. Staying in that being angry, I just watched the movie again, Inside Out, with my kids. And like, you have to experience all the feelings. Anger is one of the feelings, right? One of the emotions. We were angry. We were pissed off. And Matt and I are pretty happy go lucky people. And we were like on our spectrum of anger, right? And we wanted to fly down there and take this guy and, put him in a headlock and do some other things to him. So regardless though, you have to move through that, right? And you have to say, how do we, make the best of this situation? And you do what's in front of you to do. In order to really be a victor of anything happening, you have to do what's in front of you to do one step at a time. We didn't go and get that $750,000 in one day, figure it all out in one day, just step by step. What's in front of us to do? Getting to closing was important. Making the investors whole was important. So all those pieces of the puzzle, but that was a tough one for us.
Time. For the last one that I want to share with you guys here, it's my divorce, right? When I made the decision to get a divorce, I was at the top of our game in terms of the business. So is the way that I can describe that is like I am signing a contract to experience an earthquake.
Mm.
That is because everything is going to go down and it's going to take a couple of years to rebuild, right? That's what I was basically signing off when I decided to get a divorce. And I was willing to do that, right? And can I say, wasn't I like, again, angry, right? There is like this angry, there's grief for the things that could have happened, the momentum, the assets that had to be sold, right? There's so many pieces of the puzzle that you're like pissed off, that you
Mm.
worked so hard to build, the things that were not built, the dreams and all of that, right? But that alone was a blessing in my life. And that's how and I did not look, let me just clarify, right? Did not look at that as a blessing for a couple of years. Did not. Like pissed off. How can you see a blessing in something like this, right? But I do. And it was one of the best things that could have happened to me. And I'm glad that I made that decision. I don't see like was not aligned to who I am, where I want to be, the values that I carry, what I want to be doing in life, right? I think that I signed up for okay, let's push a reset button here for me. Not there's no us, right? For me and Andresa, based on what I've learned so far. What are the things that I would like to continue? What are the things that I would like to learn? How my life looks like? Do I want wallpapers on the wall? Do I want bold wallpapers on the wall? Or do I want like what are the things that I want? Right. And truly, I am where I am right now because of that decision. I'm living the life that I want to live right now because of that decision.
Mm.
So to me, I didn't just switch the lens from victim to victor, right? It was was a graduate process, but I had to really like healing process, tons of freaking books about me letting go and really like being at peace, right? I also don't want to say to people, oh, there's this like top of the mountain, and once you're there, you're good to go, right?
Nope.
There isn't that such a thing. However, looking back and the journey, right? The more that I go, farther I am from that victim mentality that I had when I made that decision,
Mm.
right? Being unfair and the list can go on, make other people wrong. The universe is wrong. Everything is wrong. Or like, what the hell is happening? So the further I get in terms of my journey, my healing process, self-development, farther I am from that victim mentality. And that also has to do with the people that I surround myself with that will not tolerate me in that stage. And that's what the beauty of the real estate investor community, right?
Yeah.
And when we see ourselves in each other, and we can say, okay, great, let's do a pity party right now, acknowledge what happened, but let's move the mentality. And that might take a little time. It's not like this pill that you're going to take. That might take time, and that's what we are signing up for the journey, not the quick turnaround.
I love that. That's powerful. Yeah, my last one here was when I became a mom. So just a quick history. For the first 10 years or so of our business and building our portfolio, Matt was focused on the day to day, and I was involved different times, different moments of our business for a few years here and there. But holistically, he was running the day to day. And I was working so we can, pay our bills, because a lot of our experiences early on were figuring it out, getting niched, focusing on multifamily, getting involved in different niches. And like we all know, right? Every project takes different types of money, and you're moving things around, and it can be slow going. Well, at least it was for us in terms of really building up, passive income consistently. We were doing flips with the wrong partners. I can make the long list. So for many years, I was really, taking care of us financially. I had so many different clients. I was doing very well in consulting. I was at the top of my game financially with relationships. And I was almost poised to even take over for my boss. She said, do you want me to sell you the license of this assessment tool? And it was on the table. And so I saw that path, and then I saw the path of starting a family, kind of being done with that work. I was really good at it. I was doing well financially, but it's something in my soul was missing. So I left that work, and and simultaneously got pregnant with my now 9-year-old. So when I was pregnant though, and when I had him, I became even more like lost, to be honest. I think it was the hormones that didn't help. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling like all I'm doing is taking care of this newborn. Here I am, used to flying and helping everybody and figuring their teams out and being needed and appreciated, which is a big need I have, to coming down to this little guy, Zachary, that need. It was a really big shift for me. And I felt very lost professionally. I felt very lost in my identity. I was just the wife and the mom, and I regrouted our kitchen floor twice. And I'm not the most handiest person, but that just seemed like a good idea to do. Right. So Matt jokes with that. I did a damn good job. If I ever want to get into grouting, flooring, I was good. My dad came over.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, I lost my identity. I didn't realize I was losing my identity. And I think I could have blamed different people. You don't even know, you have this wonderful newborn, and we're growing our business, but financially we were stretched, right? I literally took what I was doing financially and stopped, and we had some things moving, but it took some faith, took a lot of faith. So through that journey, I think I did shift. It was immediate, but I did shift from feeling like a victim, like what happened to my life? Now it's all, and I loved my son, don't get me wrong, but I was in my late 30s and a mom, which most of my life was just, professionally, getting those results. So it was hard, but it was a great opportunity for me to learn and grow, and then discovering what's really important to me. I love real estate, but I loved helping and inspiring and doing workshops for people in my previous work. And then I combined all my passions as Andresa and I came together, was what we're up to with Real Estate InvestHER. So had that not happened, me losing my identity and me kind of being a little like, what's next for me? Is this it? Is this it? Because I didn't want that to be it. I again, adore my son. I don't need to give a disclaimer. I love being a mom. It's one of the most treasured things I have in my life. But doing something professionally that I care about and that I'm passionate about is very important to me. So I think owning who you are, back to my second point, was key, but also allowing myself to be in that state, in that discovery. That was hard for me. Like I said, I was a busybody. I regrouted our floor just to keep myself busy. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the moments that I sometimes feel a little off again, because those feelings come back. Am I where I should be? Am I doing enough for others? Am I doing enough in my life? Like, I still ask myself those questions today. I'm not there where I've lost my identity. You have thoughts of like, am I where I need to be? You get back on being on purpose. You kind of get connected to who you are and get reminded of who you are. And then you get excited about what you're doing again. You have to get reminded. It's like, falling in love again. You have to get reminded of what your purpose is. And that's in every stage of your life. So that's what I have for that piece.
Awesome. And this is your psychologist session of the day. You can go home now. You can go home now and keep going.
Definitely feel like I've been giving therapy. The bottom line, though, is that so many women want the next tip, the next strategy, the next fill in the blank to grow your portfolio, to buy that next real estate deal, to become financially free, to create generational wealth, all the things we stand upon. But if you're staying as a victim, you're not going to get there. And that's really what we want to make mention of is the moments of our lives. What are you holding on to a victim mentality in your own life? We shared what was real for us. What's real for you? Because that's what's going to move the needle in your life. That's what's going to move the needle in your business.
So what we recommend you grab a piece of paper right now and really draw it down. 3 things that you are looking at it as a victim mentality, and the same thing. How can you really shift from a more empowering perspective? Let us know. Post it on our Facebook community. Tag us here below. We're here to support you. Keep that in mind. Ciao. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.